Right, let's get some flooring down then. Oh, hello again and welcome back to my channel. Now we have managed to survive the winter. It is starting to get a little bit warmer and I have got a dry 3 days ahead of me. So, big job's broken out again. It's time to get the flooring down. Now I did put out a post over my social media asking for some advice really, because originally I did buy 18mm ply for the floor. Now unfortunately it didn't survive the winter underneath the tarps. It's still okay and it will be usable for workshop projects, but some of the edges have got some damp in them and I'm really concerned about putting them down and them just swelling up and ruining what has been a rather substantial project up to now. So I put out asking for some advice. What type of flooring would you recommend? And thank you to everyone who got back to me on that one. But I've decided to go with OSB. There's a couple of reasons behind it. I've used OSB quite a lot. A shed that I built last year was predominantly with OSB and I found it quite forgiving and quite easy to use. But also I found that I can get the boards in 8x2, which are tongue and groove, 18mm thick. Now that's so much easier for me to carry around and move around than an 8x4 18mm board, which I'd really be struggling with, I reckon, just to move that on my own. So these arrived the other week and we'll pick the story up from there, and then I'll come back to this just before we start the idea of getting the floor down. So let's see how it goes. Right, I've got half the boards out on the stands ready to get treated. I've got the other half away in the garage just in case the weather takes a bit of a turn for the worst. I did actually ask for some advice in terms of what should I do in terms of treating the OSB boards or the floorboards. And oh god, there's a mixed review, so many opinions, varnish, oil, whatever. And it got a little bit overwhelming. So to be honest, I'm going to use my trusty Wagner spray gun. Got a review about that. And I'm actually going with this, which is Cupronol UV Decking Oil. Not because I think it's going to be the best treatment for it, it's the fact that when my local home base closed last summer, I got 15 litres of this for about 20 quid. So it was an absolute bargain. I think oil might soak in, which might give it a little bit more protection as opposed to a varnish, which is just actually resting on top. I don't really know, to be honest. I'm trying to make out I know what I'm on about and I haven't got a clue. So best get spray. I'm going to spray the underside and the top side on the stands there, and then when I put it down I'm going to give another spray on the top side. Sounds like a good plan. Best crack on. Whether, fingers crossed, it'll be all right. Okay, so we're at the stage now getting ready to put this stuff down. So I used the UV protection oil, which I thought would have been okay. It seems to have soaked in all right. Oil I thought to soak in to protect it as opposed to varnish, which would put a layer over to provide a coating. I don't know whether that's right or not. Leave a comment if you think I've gone the right way or the wrong way. Anyway, there's a couple of little things I'm a little bit concerned about. I'm putting this down. I'm just going to share them with you before I start, because I'm just going to have this rolling in the background whilst I get on with it. Firstly, the actual modular walls are going to be resting on top of these OSB boards. So I am going to trim the groove on the back ones so it's actually sitting flush onto the OSB and not onto the groove, which I think would actually put a bit of an uneven pressure on it. So I'm going to trim that off. And I've just realised that getting the big measure out is these boards are metric and not and my base is imperial. So my base is 12 foot across, 144 inches. And these are 1.2, these are 60 centimeters wide. So I'm going to end up coming short, probably by about that much. So I think probably what's going to be best, I did get 2 extra boards. You always advise to get 10% extra just in case there's an issue. And I'll probably end up with my Tracksaw and rail square just cutting a strip to go onto the front piece, which will be screwed down. And maybe even glue that one actually onto the other one. And then we've got a 18mm thick OSB for the actual modules to rest on. So that's my plan anyway. It's time to put a little bit of that plan into action and let's see how we get on. This is the only thing that's tempting me to move up to the next mark, the quick change. I love the idea of that on the new one. We'll see. Right, the plan is this. I've trimmed the groove off the 3 back panels, so I'm going to put them down first. I'm going to get them into place, and then I'm just, with my FedEx brad nailer, I'm just going to put a few brads in just to tack it in place, not to secure it down, just to tack it in place so it doesn't slide before driving in some fixings. So I'll do the back 3, and then I think I might slice one in half to then, so it's kind of like cross grooved, if you like, as opposed to it. I kind of know what I mean in my head, and I can't really explain it very well, but let's try it and see how we get on. Oh no, don't go round here. Hello, lad. Hello, lad. Where are you? Come on. Come on. Oh. Last job of the day today. I'm just about to put a top coat of the UV protection oil over the OSB. It's already had a coat before I put it down. I said I'd put another coat on. Just before I do it, Wagner, if you're listening, please put a longer lead on your spray guns. Thank you. Morning. Great day yesterday. I am pretty much aching all over, but very happy with the work that I got done. All the boards laid down. I've just got a few tidying up issues today, really. Obviously, there's you can see here, the metric imperial gap. Still trying to get my head around that, because if I bought 8x4 boards, just the OSB boards, they would come as 8 foot by 4 foot, but these smaller ones didn't. Anyway, I think it's all right because I've got 2 boards left, so that's 2 with a groove in, which I can slot in here. And also, you can see down the side, it's double thickness of the 3x2 timbers, so it's pretty much just going to be resting on that. The final board, because I haven't got one with a groove, what I think I'll do is I will trim off with my Tracksaw the tongue bit, and then just put a piece of just 18mm OSB there. I say it should rest on pretty fine. So there's that to do today. I have also got the what I might call the end grain, if you like, to protect. So I'm going to paint around the outside on the end grain, so there's no water that actually gets into that. And I'm going to use this stuff. Now, it certainly isn't designed for this work, Dicht, but just nearly a year ago, when I built the shed and materials were difficult to come by, this is one of the only things I could get my hands on. But it's kind of like a fibrous thing. I think it's actually for repairing gutters or something like that. So it's very like fibrousy, that's a word, inside. But it worked really well on my shed, so I got myself some more of it. Now, before I apply it, I'm going to stick it in some warm water, which one of my subscribers sent me that. It was too late from the shed one, but I always was stuck in my head, make it a little bit easier to apply. So it's this bit trimmed first and sorted, then this, and then if I've got time, I might sand down the top. We'll see. All right, it's about 8:30 now. It's a gorgeous day today, actually. Perfect conditions for doing this, so no excuses. Best crack on. I think I'll cut it slightly over and then trim it off once it's on, just to get that flush. I think it's a good idea. Just thinking, I best trim the tongue off this end bit now before I put the second part on. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get at the corner of it. So I'm just going to go and get my Tracksaw, sort that out now, sort the second piece, put this piece on, All right, looking good. Right, all the power tools are away, so it's a case of just sealing the edges now around the outside. I do think this is pretty important because I don't want moisture getting into the side of the OSB board for it to then swell. And also the wall modules are going to be resting on this. So I showed you before, and I have used this stuff on my shed build. I mixed it up quite well, but you can kind of, let's see if I can get it close. You can kind of see, let's get a bit closer, it's kind of all kind of fibrous stuff, which once it sets, it's really good at sealing the edges. I was really happy with this stuff. So enough talking, the best crack on.